I'm Christina, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. Today we are going to talk about the Manfella MALS third project that I did. So unfortunately, just going to be honest with you all, I don't have it with me. I worked on it when I was in the UK. I finished it. Then I went to Sicily. Then I had to come to the States, which is where I am now. And I didn't want to bring that finished project with me in the suitcase when it would just be for the video. I do have pictures. I do have my, most of my yarn bands, because I used the bag for another project while I was in the UK, but I think one of the yarn bands is gone. But anyway, I have progress pictures, I have information, it is completed, all done, but I just wanted to be upfront with you that I don't actually physically have the project with me. When I do the next installment of the Manfella MALS for the fourth project, I will show you the third project finished then, okay? And if you're sitting here wondering, what in the world is Manfella MALS? It's the first time I've seen your channel, I don't know what you're talking about. My friend Sam over at Manfella Bakes and I decided to do Cal or make along or whatever you want to call it, to do things that we wanted to do this year, make things that we wanted to make, but still have some sort of collaboration together. So we decided on 4 projects that we were going to do, and we weren't going to do them at the same time. We weren't going to use the same yarns. We weren't going to do any timelines. So we just sort of made it very lackadaisical, if you will. And at every stage, we have invited you all to join us. If we're doing something that you wanted to join us in, then you are welcome to do it with either one of us. So the premise was the 4 projects are subscription yarn project, a label my library project of some sort, right? We both have lots of crochet books, like with projects in them, whether that's blankets, whether that's amigurumi, whether that's garments, whatever. So we didn't want to narrow it down to amigurumi, although we both love making amigurumi. We wanted to just do something from our library. Then we did the Asteria doily, which we both wanted to make. And then Sam came up with the idea for a crochet pillow cover. Hold on just one second. Okay, so Sam, like I said, came up with the idea for the pillow cover. Now, those were the 4 projects that we selected, but we didn't want there to be hard and fast timelines. We didn't want there to be so many rules with what needed to be done. So we said that we would draw for them. And what that means for us is Sam's son, Max, draws, and my daughter, Sparkle, draws, but for the other person. So whatever Max draws is what I make, and whatever my daughter draws, Sam makes. So we have lots, not lots, but we have shorts out for all of the projects thus far. The thing that we didn't think about when we did this is that once we've done project number 3, we automatically know what project number 4 is. So that's fine. So I already know that my last project is going to be the Asteria doily because I have done the other 3. And Sam already knows what her 3rd project is, or her 4th project is, because we've already drawn 3. And that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just, I mean, we could still do the short if we wanted to, just to add it to the playlist. I do have a playlist for the Manfella MALS. Any video that Sam's done, any videos that I've done are in that playlist, so you can watch it all together and you can see kind of how we did each of the things. So my 3rd project was my subscription yarn project, and I decided that not only was I going to use my subscription yarn, which is Lether Co., which unfortunately is no longer in business, I was also going to use one of the patterns that I have. So when I would get the Lether Co boxes, I would get a hook, a skein of yarn, some sort of little goodie, and at least one pattern. Now there were years where she did, at least one year where she did a QR code instead of like a pattern booklet. And with that QR code, you had access to more patterns than just what came in the little booklet. I actually really liked the QR code because I had access to things that I could make with the yarn, like multiple things, because some of the projects were small projects, right? So it was a little crochet case or a cup cozy or something small, and you have this big skein of, well, it was a hank actually, a big hank of yarn, merino wool, and you would have so much yarn left over, you're like, okay, now what am I gonna do with it? But if you had access to those patterns with the QR code, you could make multiple things with that one hank of yarn, right? So I thought that that was wonderful. It was a little frustrating for people who did not have the tech knowledge, or they didn't like to use the patterns like on their screen, and they didn't have access to print them. So, I mean, there were struggles, and I get it, but I really liked having access to more patterns than just the 3 that were in the booklet maybe. So anyway, I came across in my search for a pattern to use with my subscription yarn, because I had 4 hanks that I was going to use, and I can show those to you. Maybe, what are all those pictures doing in there? I do not know, sorry. Yeah, so they're all caked up here. This is when they were all caked up in the bag. So they all have some element of blue, purple, turquoise. There was a little fleck of orange and brown in a couple of them. So they all kind of went well together. I will put in this video the project selection where I selected the yarns so that you can see the actual hanks and the colors there, because all I have now is I have yarn bands and photos. So I used 4 of them, and they are all the same specs. They're 100% superwash merino, 231 yards, 100 grams. They're DK weight yarns. So I used, this one was owl, this one was sly fox, this one was spruce trees, and then there was another one that was unmarked, because when Lether Co was going out of business, they were selling all of their yarns that they had left in like mystery boxes. And one of the mystery boxes that I got had a yarn that looked a lot like the owl, but it didn't have a name on it. But when I caked them up, if I didn't put this in the one that this was wrapped around, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. So to me, that was the same yarn. It was just a different hank of the same yarn. So what I did was I put them in order like this. So I did the owl, and then the spruce trees, and then the sly fox, because this had notes of this one and some of the like orangey brown. This had more orangey brown, obviously, so it kind of blended this way. And then the other one of this I brought back at the end, and I'll show you in the pictures as well. So I did it like that. I used my 4mm clover, which I have here because I'm using it for something else. Yeah, I used my 4mm clover for that. And I literally just crocheted and crocheted and crocheted when I was in the UK. It was amazing. And the pattern was the Christmas shawl. So Lether Co came out with like an advent box, and they had little like mini hanks and then a big hank at the end. And so they would change color. Every so many rows was a different color. Well, I had 4 big hanks of yarn. So I divided the colors, the number of rows, right, by the colors that I had. And the sections turned out fine. I did have a little bit left at the end where I put a bit of a border because the bottom rows were obviously bigger, but there were fewer of them. So it ended up being, there was more left to put on the border. So this is how it started out, right, with the owl DK there. And I was sitting at like a indoor trampoline bouncy house kind of place with my daughter when I started it. And then it was slowly growing. Right, I worked on it while I was there. This is the end of the owl DK. So this was the first skein or cake or hank or whatever. And then this was the spruce tree. So this is where I added the spruce tree. So you can kind of see, in the picture, I know it's reflective, I'm sorry, some of the little bits of brown that are coming through, but there's lots of that turquoise, which really blends in with this, the turquoise that's in the owl DK, but there's lots of purples and blues in the owl DK as well. So then, this was the third hank. Get that a little bigger. So this is the sly fox. This is the sly fox here. You can see the oranges coming in. Let me make it, this is just gonna be like a section. But you can really see up here we have the owl DK, then we have the spruce trees, and then we have the fox. So there's some purples in here that are bringing in the purples from up here, but then you have the orangey browns with the fox that are the little orangey flecks from the spruce tree here. And I took pictures at every stage because I knew that I was not going to be able to, here's another, this is just another picture with the 3 in there. I knew I wasn't going to be able to bring it along with me. So, and then this is when I started putting in the owl DK for the 4th section. So, oh, sorry, I'm trying to get rid of the glare. There we go. So you have, right here is the beginning, and then this is the spruce tree, and this is the sly fox, and then here is where I started back in adding the owl DK. Now, I was sending pictures to a couple of people as I was doing this, and one of them said, maybe you should have, like, done it, like, fewer rows, and then, like, the stripes, the sections have been smaller. That math would have given me a headache, is what that would have happened. Okay, and so then this is the finished shawl. This is it completed. So I think that the way that it plays, like going down my back with this big strip here of the sly fox, I really like that. And then the owl DK is at the bottom and then again up at the top here. So you have both of them. And I don't have any left. I have nothing left of any of the 4 hanks. I used them all because I was like, I'm not, oh, that's a blurry picture. See, I have another one. Here we go. I don't want to have anything left. So I know that these are just pictures, and my cover of my phone is really scratched, and I'm sorry for that, but I will show you the finished product when I get back. But I wanted to make the video so that you guys could see it and know that I'm finished. I do kind of have an idea for what I want to do with the Asteria doily. I thought really long and hard about the yarns that I wanted to use. So again, when I get back, while I was in the States, I did get the yarn ready, and I have it in a bag ready to go so that I know exactly what I want to use, so when I get home I can make that video and it won't be so difficult to make that decision. And then at that point I will show you the finished shawl. I did consider leaving it for the person whose house I was staying in, the person I was house sitting for, but I don't know how she feels about crochet. There weren't any items in her house that led me to believe that she liked those kinds of things. So because it was such a big item to gift someone, I didn't want to do that and it end up at a thrift store or something, right? So I didn't do that. I did bring it home with me. But that is it for the Manfella MALS project number 3. And I hope that you are enjoying coming along with us. Remember, if there's anything that you're doing, whether you've done some of these projects along with us, or you've said, I'm working on something, but I want to do whatever Sam was doing or whatever Christina was doing, you can always send those to me, and I can put them in my video. And I know right now Sam is on a little bit of a break, but if and when she gets back to her channel, she would love to put them in her posts section for you. So either way, you can share that with us. We would love to know that you're doing this along with us and that you are enjoying your projects. And it does not have to be the exact same thing. If we're, like Sam was working on a blanket, didn't have to be the same blanket. You could have done a different blanket. I was working on this with shawl. You may not have subscription yarn, but maybe you have yarn that you've been dying to use. You could do that. You may not have the Christmas shawl pattern that I had. You could do a different shawl pattern. It doesn't matter, right? The whole point of this collaboration, oh sorry, I hit the table, was to do things that we want to do, things that make us happy, things that are on our crochet bucket list, right? And that we have fun together. So at every stage that I was doing those pictures, I was sending them to Sam and like, what do you think? How does it look? And she would always tell me that it looked marvelous or stunning or any other such accolade, right? But I was glad to have someone to share that with because we were doing things together. She wasn't making the same thing as me, right? She wasn't doing that at all. She's already done her subscription project. Like that was already something that she had done. But we've been doing this together, and being able to share that with someone is wonderful because I don't have crochet people in my life. I have them on YouTube, but I don't have them in my real life. So being able to share that with someone and have them be excited about things that I'm making is really nice. And Sam and I would both love to be that person for you if you want to share your makes with us, right? So I will let you go, and as always, be well, be safe, and be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella!